miners talk about riser cards. What are riser cards?
This is a riser card. See how it's got a full slot on it? Full length?
Yeah.
Right here. If you look at it, it needs two things. It needs power. So you need to use one of the power connectors that's flopping around in your desktop. Then you need to plug in what looks like a USB, because it is a USB, into the thing. And then look at this guy right here. Let's see if I can do it here. See that?
Yes, I can see it now.
Now, if I go back to my motherboard again, see if I can do this on the camera. I can plug him into the baby slot. And now I have an extra PCIe slot that I can then use, provided that I give it power from the power supply.
Now, what operating system do you need to build the crypto mining rig?
If you're not that familiar with computers, Windows is probably the best way to do it. And remember I showed last week NiceHash, that works on Windows. If you're more of a programming type or you want to play around with it a little bit, Linux operating system is very, very good for doing mining. And then Linux has remote desktop connections built in, but more importantly, you can actually log in like a real computer programmer and do from what's called the command line. Anybody that's played with computers a lot knows, kind of like the old days of computing. So you can log into it remotely. And the real serious programmers like to do it from Linux command line or CLI.
And what is overclocking and what does it mean in crypto mining?
So basically what you're doing is tuning it up to run faster and harder than it does right out of the box. And overclocking, if you're going to make money with crypto, you absolutely have to overclock it. And it's the same kind of things that you do as a gamer to get your computer to perform better. You get your GPUs, except now in that system I showed you, I had to set overclock settings on 8 of them, right? So you set the overclock settings for 8, and it's amazing. You make more money. You have to be careful. You don't use too much power. You have to be careful how, in addition to the power settings, how much you're going to be cranking up the temperature. But if you monitor it with certain programs, which I'm sure we'll talk about, those are very, very good things to do.
So should I use off-the-shelf computers or build a custom mining rig? That's Lisa from Boston. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you.
Personally, I like using the custom mining rigs, and we'll talk about those. The reason I like it is I can put them remotely. One of the things you have to be careful about when you do that is you need to be able to, like I put one, for example, on Cape Cod, down on the Cape, where the electric rates are a little lower. The problem with that is the weather ran through the other day and the computer shut down, right? Because the electricity went out. And if I were using a desktop computer, how do I turn the computer back on again, right? I can't hit the power button. So you want to be able to remotely turn on and off the computer if you're going to do it remotely. And that's a case where a custom mining rig will allow you to do that easily. And a desktop computer, while you can do it that way, is very difficult. So when the power comes back on, it has to turn itself back on. And there are ways to do it, but it's more complex to do it. So the custom mining rig has a beat there. If you want just no muss, no fuss, you want a nice box sitting in the corner, yeah, and off the shelf will probably do you, but you won't be able to make as much money because you won't have 8 of those babies running at the same time.
How much should I expect to pay for a custom mining rig?
I tried this summer. The Chinese government decided crypto mining was illegal in China. And so I thought, oh, this would be a great place to get GPUs. And I have a friend I used to work with over there, lives in Beijing. I sent him a WeChat and said to my friend, can you get me some GPUs? They must be going for a really good price. Turns out the price was identical to the United States. The market is perfectly efficient. But I showed you one that cost, the one with 8 of them in it, cost about a little less than $5,000. That's probably sort of a good starting point for custom mining. And we'll talk about that when we do it in the future.